Welcome everyone to the TAF Discussion Podcast. Yes, that's right, the TAF Discussion Podcast, where we try to make you fantasy champs and fantasy relevant if you were a fantasy chump before. One step at a time. With that being said, let's do a quick recap of week 2. Some things that you might have missed and some things maybe didn't think there was some big things going on this week. So to start it off, Thursday night's game. I just had a feeling the Bucks were going to pull out the upset. Cam Newton, man, he threw for 333 yards. Most of that was at the end of the game, and man, I really think he needs to sit the season out. I don't think he's healed. Something's not right. His throws were all over the place. I know the jokes out there. Cam already isn't the most accurate quarterback. Well, he looked terrible on Thursday. Jameis looked really good. As you can see, my boy Chris Godwin was sitting on my bench with 8 receptions, 121 yards, and 1 TD. That would have won me my week. Actually, no, it still wouldn't have won me my week. It could have if I would have made some changes. Like I said, I take responsibility this week for losing this Show Me. We won in the other leagues. We actually lost in one other league, but it was just, yeah. Show Me, I take responsibility. We didn't bring out Calvin. Calvin didn't come, so we're going to have to bring out Calvin this week. I think a new video is coming out. We'll see. Let's see. We have Peyton Barber. I was actually wanting Ronald Jones to take over this backfield this week. Carolina is, for some reason, really soft against the run this year. It's weird because you got Luke Kuechly in the middle, and their front seven was supposed to be really pretty good, but right now they can't stop the run to save their lives. Peyton Barber ran for 82 yards in the TD. I really wanted that to be Jones. Jones, unfortunately, didn't do much of anything. I don't even think he had that many carries. I'm not going to click on that game because it's nothing too much to read in to accept that Cam is actually being considered day-to-day right now, and he could potentially miss Sunday, which is pretty big because that means Will Grier is coming in. So that means if you're relying on DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel, this could be some disappointing news because we don't know what we are getting out of Will Grier. We don't know what the offense is going to look like with Will Grier. Are they going to just straight run the ball with McCaffrey because Will Grier is back there? I mean, why would you not? So, something to definitely pay attention to, guys. I know some people are actually going to go out and trade for DJ Moore this week because he had a pretty decent game last week. Him and Samuels had a decent game. Austin went off, but I think Austin will be okay. He won't have to jump for as many balls with Will Grier, but I think Will Grier will try to feed him more. So we'll see. I'm not going to get into next week's talk right now. The fellas have something planned for you guys, so we'll keep it rolling. Vikings versus Packers. This game was sort of disappointing in itself. It was just, I wanted more. With the Vikings missing their second cornerback, why did MVS not eat more? I meant to look to see if he got hurt or anything, but I was really disappointed by that. I figured he would eat, but of course, Aaron Rodgers, the guy who spreads the ball around, decided to go with Geronimo Allison this week. He only had 4 receptions for 25 yards. Oh, hello. Let's pay attention to the details. MVS had 6 targets, and he only caught 3 of them. That's alarming. Aaron Rodgers will get away from throwing you the ball if you can't catch the ball. So, something to look out for, MVS owners. Geronimo Allison caught 4 out of 5 targets. That's good. Aaron Jones played phenomenal, man. He had a really good game against a tough Vikings run team, rushing defense. I was really shocked. Aaron Jones came out with 23 carries, 116 yards, and TD. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. It's just, man, he really came out and played well against a tough Vikings defense, but they were on their heels. most of that game. You got to think about it. They were playing against Aaron Rodgers, so you never know what Aaron Rodgers is going to check down to. This new system that Aaron Rodgers is playing in, they get the run involved a little bit more. So they had to they spread the Vikings out and had them on their heels most of that game. And with the Vikings being short in the secondary, man, it showed. But really, the biggest thing out of this game was this Kirk Cousins stat line. Oh my gosh. 230 yards, decent, but man, one TD. It was at the end of the game, and it was really just a bomb down to Stephon Diggs. He just burnt the cornerback. And two interceptions, man. He was taking sacks. QB rating of 52.9. Oof. QB rating of 52.9. In the trash. Dalvin Cook looked phenomenal. 75-yard TD to the house. I'm out. He looked phenomenal. Shout out to everybody that got DC. Still disappointed DC didn't fall to me in my round 2 because he started picking up a lot of momentum going into draft week, man. Now I see the benefits of drafting early. I really do. I mean, you do have to worry about people getting hurt and everything else, but, it's just one of those things. All right, we're going to the next game. Cody got me excited. Sorry, I was reading a message from Cody. He was messaging the group, and we'll get to them in a minute. Let's see. We had Eagles versus Falcons. Disappointing showing from the Falcons. They got the win, but we didn't see what we really wanted to see from some of the running game. Unfortunately, they lost their center, and that really showed. Just disappointing, man. They won, but look at this. Devontae Freeman, he hasn't done anything in the last 2 games. You have Ito, 4 carries. He did more at his carries. He had 8 yards. He averaged 8 yards per carry. A lot of those, I would say, come from out of the shotgun. But, man, it's just like no running game at all for somebody that took Devontae Freeman in the 3rd round right now. They're like, what do I do? What do I do? So, we're going to analyze the situation. Let's do some research. Me and the fellas going to get back with you. I'll let the fellas. That's my question for the fellas tonight. I'm not going to jump in on the conversation. If you fellas are listening, I'll put it in the group as well. What do our owners do with Devontae Freeman right now? I love to hear what these guys got to say. So shout out to them. Tune in to them as well at tonight. I'm not sure what time they're coming on, but I'm sure they're posted in the group. We have, another disappointing showing. Miles Sanders, 10 carries for 28 yards, 2.8 yards a carry. Man, disappointing. Wentz looked bad. They did come out, and they came out, and they fell behind pretty quick. Falcons obviously have some phenomenal safeties that can come down in the box and they can hit. So, I'm not losing faith in Miles Sanders. I'm worried about Carson Wentz because he was getting beat up. I don't know if that offensive line can hold up, but man, he was getting roughed up back there. I want to say it was 3 sacks and 18 QB hits. I don't know. I have to look up and see what this means, but it was just bad. Let me see, because we can see how many sacks. So yeah. 1 sack, and then I want to say it was 18 QB hits. They don't show. Oh, yeah, they do. Here we go. 6 QB hits. So where's that 18 coming from? Anyways, it's just, I don't know what's going on with that Eagles offensive line. I don't know if they need to gel or what, but they're not looking too hot. Carson Wentz with the QBR of 61.3. Also, just disappointing. He did rush for a TD, which helped his fantasy numbers out a little bit. So that definitely helped. Nelson Aguilar, if he's on the waivers with Mr. I'm Always Hurt, Alshon Jeffries on the sideline, Nelson Aguilar's going to get a lot of targets. So be on the lookout for that. Zach Ertz, 16 targets. He didn't do too much either, man. He only caught half his targets. And only 72 yards, sorry. And Matt Collins, this offense just has to get going. There's just nothing happening. There's no production right now in this offense, and it's sort of alarming. I don't want to just blame this offensive line because I haven't watched enough of their film right now, but it's not looking too good. And if your quarterback is getting hit 6 times in a game, that's not good at all. That's more chances of an injury. So, all right, next game we have. Sorry, everyone. What happened? It mixed it up on us. All right. Well, we're just gonna skip over a few. We'll just do a few recaps. Bears and Broncos, yuck. Both QBs, yuck. But both defenses are really good. So we do have that. Let's wait for Mr. Trubisky. David Montgomery did have he had him a little day. He finally got in the house on a little baby run. That was off of a penalty, I want to say. That's how he got in the house. He took it to the crib. But Emmanuel Sanders is looking really good. Caution. He looks really good at the beginning of every season. He tends to slow down. But that was with a different coaching scheme. So let's see if he keeps it going. He looks phenomenal, man. I'm proud of him. Back from injury, looking great. Joe Flacco might sneak into fantasy discussions here soon. Be careful on that. Chiefs, nothing much to see here besides DeMarcus Robinson going in. I actually told a joke in the Tav Heads group, and I was like, watch DeMarcus Robinson blow up, and everybody's trying to grab Hardman. And look what happened. I wasn't being serious, but it just so happened. And 2 touchdowns later and 172 yards and 6 receptions. If anybody was smart enough to start him, I can't even say if you're smart enough. Like, I feel like at this point, well, there might have been some news out there that gave that away. I'm not sure. But bravo to you if you did start him. Josh Jacobs is still looking good. 12 carries, 99 yards. This man is looking great, guys. If you got your hands on Josh Jacobs, he's going to be a stud. Yes, it is hurting my heart. Oh, I can feel it. Oh, I'm endorsing a Raider. I can't believe it either. But that offensive line is built for him. I see why they're trying to get him Rookie of the Year or Offensive Rookie of the Year because they're going to run him, and that offensive line looks really good. They won't be down in a lot of games like they were in his Chiefs game, so he'll get a lot more carries. Shout out to Carlos Hyde in this game. Fournette threw up another dud. The Texans, it was a divisional game. I will say that. Man, Fournette didn't do anything, and you're talking about Hopkins got pretty much locked up by Jalen Ramsey. Man, it's looking like he's not wanting to be traded anymore. I guess they let bygones be bygones. Went in the room and talked it out like some men. But it looks like he's staying. So everybody that had the Jags defense, you can breathe. So, like I said, the defense looks great again. They're going to start getting more sacks as the season goes along. Some of these offensive lines are starting to look suspect already, and it's happening pretty early. So, Minshew looked actually pretty well, man. I was really impressed by some of the throws he made. At the end of the game, he got hot, and that's when he threw his TD. But so Minshew could be an asset pretty soon. I didn't see what he did for the rushing. Let's see what he did rushing-wise. I'm sort of intrigued by that. Minshew, he rushed 6 times for 56 yards. Minshew could be an asset pretty soon. So keep your eyes on Minshew, guys. Put him on your watch list. It's some telling factors I like out of here, man. If you're looking, there's some things I like to see. Leonard Fournette, man, we got to do better, baby. I don't know what's going on. Everybody's keying down on him right now. And we need Minshew to produce. If he could continue to produce, the Leonard Fournette owners of the world will be a lot more happier. It's hard for a young running back to just run against a full box. Very few running backs can do that. I mean, AP was one. You have your few. I'm not going to name everybody, but you do have your few. But what I do like seeing is he had 6 targets and he had 4 receptions for 40 yards. That did save his day. So that now that Leonard Fournette is catching balls, that brings up his floor for sure there. So he could be at his. Here's the thing: Leonard Fournette's schedule is sort of crazy at the beginning, but it gets a lot lighter in the middle of the season. So that's something to keep an eye on. D Hop, yeah, only 5 catches for 40 yards on 8 targets. So yeah, shout out to my man. Jalen Ramsey just balled out. I want to say he had an interception too. Yeah, 4 tackles, 1 pass deflection. Didn't I? Oh, here it is. No, he didn't have an interception, but man, I think one of the plays he almost had an interception. I can't remember, but anything else we should look at here? No, everything's pretty on the up and up. Will Fuller and D Hop lead the targets. Carlos Hyde just looks good. 4.5 yards a carry. Duke Johnson, man, he's finding himself almost in Browns territory again. Like, he's not getting that much work. He only had 1 target. And he only had 6 totes, man. I'm concerned about Duke Johnson. That's concerning. That's alarming. We'll see what he does this week. They'll open up the playbook again this week. Like I said, like I always tell you guys, divisional games usually tend to be slugfest, defensive fest. That's why a lot of these games went low this week. Be prepared for fantasy numbers to go back up and your player stats to go back up as well. Let's hit a couple more games and I'm going to get off here. Oh, man, I have to talk about this. The 49ers look phenomenal. Oh, man, that offense is flowing. They put a 40 burger on the Bengals. Yes, the Bengals defense isn't the best. Yes, the Bengals defense are missing cornerbacks, but Garoppolo was shredding them boys up. 3 TDs. 3. The only thing that disappointed me was that Kittle didn't get one of those TDs, man. He didn't. He only had 3 targets for 54 yards. That's scary. But, man, Marquise Goodwin showed up. Debo, Mostert. Oh, man, he looks great back there. I'm pretty sure Sheldon's going to play him against me this week. I wouldn't doubt it. If he does, man, that's going to be a good play, I feel like. I got to do some more research. But, man, Garoppolo just shredded them up. Man, he's still sitting on waivers in a lot of leagues. He's starting to heat up. So, but I'm going to give it one more week before I really feel strong about Jimmy G, because we still have, like I said, the Bengals defense isn't the greatest defense. So Joe Mixon did absolutely nothing against that San Francisco defense. They're looking good. Andy Dalton, man, he's been looking pretty nice without A.J. Green. And here's the thing, when a quarterback loses their star receiver and they start spreading the ball out to more receivers and they start looking better because they're not focused in on trying to feed that one receiver. So losing A.J. Green might have been a huge thing for Andy Dalton, because I'm actually really impressed with the red man. Oh, man. He's been balling out. The new offensive scheme looks great. Now, I'm not going as far as to say they could trade away AJ. I don't know what the situation is with that. But if AJ comes back and Dalton keeps balling out the way he's balling, man, they could have a nice connection. But, hey, oh, my gosh. I didn't even notice this. This man caught 10 balls off of 10 targets. And we're talking about some of those had to be on Richard Sherman. Oh, man, that's crazy. John Ross caught half of his balls for 112 and 1 TD. Hey, this offense is looking pretty nice. Eifert had a showing. He only had a TD. He had 5 targets, but only 9 yards. I'm not picking him up in any leagues. If any of you guys are considering that, then so be it. And let's hit up one more game. I say that, and then I'll see something else I want to talk about. But I'm going to keep it short. Dak looked good. Shout out to Dak. There's a sleeper right there, guys. Devin Smith. Don't sleep on Devin Smith. As you all know, Galladay is hurt, so somebody has to get those receiver 2 balls, and Devin Smith just got signed last week. Comes out in balls. So Dak likes him. I like him. Sleeper Christian Kirk getting a lot of play now. I love it. Kyler Murray's starting to get loose. The offensive line is pretty good in the pass blocking. I'm concerned with their run blocking. Out of 2 weeks, man, they just don't really look good. DJ hurt his wrist. I don't know if it was the same wrist. I wish I'd have known so I could tell you guys, but I know he hurt one of his wrists in this game. That's why he missed so much of the game. Pay attention to that because he's had wrist injuries before, so be on top of that. Let's see. Austin Eckler balled out again. Kenny Golladay, man, I'm glad to see this man producing. I'm upset Hager grabbed him, man, because I wanted Kenny Golladay, but I wasn't able to grab him in any of my leagues because I was taking players around him. So that's on me. But Kenny Golladay is balling. Matthew Stafford looks good. I had a feeling when Stafford said he was dealing with a rib injury that Kenny Golladay was going to start balling this year, and lo and behold, Hager goes out and grabs him. Of course he would. So Bills, Josh Allen's looking phenomenal, but it was against the Giants. Another bad defense. Saquon, man, he's just looking good. This is what I was waiting to hit on. As you all know, Eli is now done as the starting quarterback for right now. He is going to be on the bench, and we are going to see a Mr. Jones come in. The first round pick for the New York Giants will be starting this weekend. I like the guy. At first, I wasn't really impressed with the pick. I still feel like they could have waited and grabbed him later. But, hey, I'm not the GM. But I do, after watching Jones a little bit and watching some of his training camp videos, I see some talent there. He is athletic. He can get outside the box. I'm not picking him up in fantasy just yet. I'm wanting to see how he looks, but I am excited about him potentially opening up some gaps for Saquon. If Saquon can get some more holes opened up or bigger holes opened up, he's about to look crazy. So I'm excited about Jones. I'm ready to see what he does. They're going to ride him out for the rest of the season. I mean, he's not coming out unless he goes in and throws like 5 interceptions or something. And then they'll probably take him out and be like, all right, we're not trying to get you off to this kind of rough start and put Eli back in, or if he's getting hit a lot. So, but yeah, pay attention to that, guys. Everybody will have their eyes on that Giants game. I don't want to pull up the schedule. I just want to knock out a couple of games. Shout out to our knuckleheads of the week, the Dolphins. Oh, man, I can't believe that play. Antonio Brown, man. Oof. Antonio Brown and Tom Brady are about to be they're about to be phenomenal. Preston Williams showed up. This was a tough team to play against, guys. Don't sleep on the Patriots defense. They shut him out for a reason, so don't sleep on Preston Williams. I know I mentioned him last week. He's still looking good, and don't sleep on Parker. I know a lot of people hate Parker because he didn't produce in the previous years, but it's looking like a new Parker this year. So, Will Dillasley looked really good. Impressed with Will Dillasley. Caught, I think, 2 touchdowns. Does it say right here? Has a huge game. I'll click on that game, and that'll be our last game. Will Dillasley had 2 touchdowns off of 5 catches for 50 yards. Average 10 yards a catch, man. Those another sleeper. Don't sleep on them. DK Metcalf, man, this guy is putting up numbers, but we have to see this. We have to see this improve. Only 3 catches off of 7 targets. We have to see that number improve. We know Russell Wilson is accurate, so I have to count at least 2 of those as drops, 2 or 3 of those as drops. I know Tyler Lockett had, they said 2 drops in the game, but golly, he still put up 10 catches off 12 targets. Tyler Lockett, I was semi-hot on him coming into my drafts, but I just didn't know, man. I didn't know how he would fit in with DK, and now we're seeing every game won't be a shootout like this, but they are going to get back to running the ball. Ooh, Rashad Penny out-carried Chris Carson. That's going to be a confusing backfield, guys. It is all season. Rashad Penny did get the TD catch, so there's that, and he only got 1 target, and then you got Chris Carson that got 3 targets. So there's that. It's going to be a confusing backfield to deal with because, especially in the shootout games. So another big storyline, man. You've all heard it by now. I'm not going to beat the bull. But Big Ben is out for the season with the elbow injury. Instead, I want to talk about Mason Rudolph. There's a lot of potential with Mason Rudolph right here, guys. He had a strong arm. Coming into the game, he looked confident. He was actually making a lot of drives downfield. He hit Vance McDonald, which I know the Vance owners are excited about that in the end zone for 2 TDs, man. Vince, he's not getting the yards, but he's getting the red zone looks. And that Seahawks defense is tough. That Seahawks defense is not somebody to sleep on. So Mason Rudolph, man, don't sleep on him. Watch him in fantasy. I don't know. I want to see him pass the ball more. I want to see if they're going to actually hand the keys over to him and open up the offense. Because James Conner still isn't getting the job done. Only 3 yards per carry. Oh, yeah, he did get hurt in this game, but he still had 11 carries. He did end up getting hurt. And Moncrief, guys. Oh, my gosh. Moncrief needs to – oh, they only gave him 1 target. And that 1 target was for an interception. I want to say that was Moncrief that the ball hit off his hands and it went up in the air and it ended up getting intercepted. And I wanted that was Rudolph's 1 interception, I believe, as well. So Moncrief, I don't know. He's probably going to be cut soon. So look at James Washington filling in on that role. Vance McDonald, man, he might start eating 7 targets, man, 2 touchdowns. So, hey, Vance McDonald could start eating now, and James Washington could fill into that receiver 2 role, or Ryan Switzer had 4 targets. So we'll see how that pans out. I'm not too concerned with Juju. I think he'll still produce because he actually got most of his big yardage after Rudolph came in. So we'll let it roll with that. And with that being said, guys, I'm about to sign out. Sorry if you guys were posting any comments or you asking any questions. I didn't get to those today. Just wanted to do a quick game recap of some of these games. We pretty much got through everything. Todd Gurley, 63 yards in the TD. Is it time to start worrying about him? Cooper Kupp, baby. That man is going off. I love Cooper Kupp, man. He's like one of my favorite receivers, man. He reminds me of I'm not going to say more talented, but he reminds me of a more athletic Adam Thielen. Like, Cooper Kupp is that guy. His route running is just there. His hands are pristine. I like Cooper Kupp, man. Jared Goff showed up. I remember last week I was telling you guys I wanted to see if Jared Goff shows up in this game, and he came out and played 283 yards in a TD, and I want to say he ran for 1. I can't never get off this mic, guys. I love talking to you guys. I love getting this information out. It's just one of those things, you know. So, no, he didn't. Oh, actually, yeah, he did run for a TD. Yep. Jared Goff also ran for a TD. So, yeah, he had a good game in fantasy. Malcolm Brown got 6 totes. And, yeah, it's time for you guys to start dropping old Henderson there. He didn't get any work at all, any targets or anything. Brandon Cooks had his TD like he usually does, 74 yards. Cooper Kupp, 5 on 9 targets. Would like to see that go up a little bit. And that's it, man. Robert Woods didn't really show up either. Michael Thomas. Oh, yeah, we had to talk about that as well. Guys, don't get too alarmed with this Drew Brees going out for a couple weeks. I know a lot of people are starting to sell on Michael Thomas because they're worried about Teddy Bridgewater being the quarterback. Look, we have to be rational. It's hard for somebody like Teddy Bridgewater to come off the bench when he didn't have hardly any reps during the week with the starters and play in a hostile environment in the Rams stadium against a great Rams defense. That's tough. You know, that really is. So obviously coming into this week, they'll game plan more for Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know what that offense is going to look like, but they're going to get the ball to Michael Thomas. They didn't pay him not to get him the ball. So he'll still get his looks. I know there's been talks about Taysom Hill coming in as the receiver too. I don't know how legit that is. I'm a little concerned with Latavius Murray, but like I said, the game plan fell behind. I was thinking Latavius Murray is going to get more looks in the passing game, but it's not looking that way. Alvin Kamara only got 3 looks. So that's what I'm worried about with Teddy. But I'm keeping Latavius on the bench, and we're going to roll with that. So with that being said, as always, shout out to all our veterans. Shout out to all our active duty. We love you guys. Salute to you all. Shout out to the Tab heads, and shout out most of all to the Tab Nation. We love you guys. You guys are amazing. Keep sharing the group. Let's do something at 400. Let's plan something special when we get 400 members in the Facebook group. You guys are amazing. Please keep liking and sharing the videos and the podcast. We can continue to bring in more and more just information and more giveaways. You guys are amazing. We're growing. And with that being said, we are out. Hey, 30 minutes.